Welcome back, guys, to some more Moans and Bones reactions from me, the Bones, and
me, the Moans.
just a ghost and skeleton reacting to some more videos. We're looking at following the fancy series of Internet Historian, and this is Too Fancy, Too Furious Wine. It's the first one on wine, so we're gonna get into this right now. Let's get it going. Well, okay, hold on. Before we go, wine. What wine do you like, if any? Una.
Wait, I'm forgetting. I think I like champagnes more, to be honest, because they're bubbly.
Well, that's a wine technically, I think.
Yeah,
it's made from wine.
Like, I like
it's made from a white wine
and Moscatos.
Okay, so you like
sweet
white wines, essentially, right?
Usually, I usually like sweeter alcohol if I have.
What about like a rosé, like a pinkish wine?
I think I have liked them. I try to be fancy, and be like, I'm busting out the rosé for our girl.
Is it just because it sounds fancy? Rosé? Is that the? Oh, so fancy.
And they can be pinky, like pinkish.
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh well, you love pink, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I'm more into like red wines. That's like my jam. I could like a good Chianti.
Chianti. Do you have it with some flava beans?
Well, not particularly, but usually with a good steak. Yeah.
I've had that wine in cooking. Actually,
wait, what? Oh well, yeah. You can use wine for a lot of things in cooking, for sure.
I feel like that's when it shines for me.
Well, because you don't like alcohol in general, and I'm not big on it either, guys. We're not huge drinkers over here.
Yeah, I'm a pleb. Sure. I'm a pleb, so he is going to enlighten me.
I think I'm gonna learn some stuff here about wine. It'll be fun.
Oh, quick note: best red wine thing ever, though, is like I like rose and like red wine reduction. You can like give it different flavors, like anise seed and stuff, but that is amazing. That's a fancy thing I can do.
Oh yeah, that's a fancy thing. Okay. Anise seed?
Yeah, well, mostly you can just reduce red wine with a sweetener, but you can put various flavorings in there to your taste. I learned that a while ago. It's actually it's surprisingly good.
All right, let's
here we go.
Ready? Yeah.
Yeah.
Another internet historian ride, as I should put it.
Come here, little fella.
Yeah, basically.
I want to tell you a secret. I'm just like you.
Okay.
We're both down here in the dirt. Mine just happens to be imported.
Oh, fuck.
You are fighting in traffic, and I am fighting charges of trafficking. We're so similar. You're working a 9-to-5 job, and I am having to look at that. We're both going through it. So don't hate me. I'm not the problem. It's the wine snobs. They're the ones that look down on you. And frankly, I don't blame them.
Wait, what?
No, he's learning. Listen, let me pull you up by your bootstraps.
Oh, okay.
What if I made you my little Pygmalion? That's a reference that you wouldn't get.
I need to be a
Perhaps I shall make a series of videos that will give you some sort of clue about fancy things. Yes, that's what I'll do. Something to give you just enough information to bluff your way through a fancy dinner.
Did you know that Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa?
Somebody had to hold open the gates for the barbarians. Why not me? So let's do it. Let's look at wine, the Mountain Dew of upper society. With wine, there is only one rule. Kill.
Why does being green actually make it more attractive to me?
Right. Because we're in Mountain Dew society.
Here are 6 things you should know about wine.
6 things.
To you muggles, the words on these bottles must seem like a mystery.
Hi, not no ire.
But us
Pine nut
landlords,
noir.
we, the pink Himalayan salt of the earth, we know what they mean. They are grape names. Look upon this grapevine. It makes grape berries. Now,
Yep.
there are many different species of grape berry. And whatever the berry species is will determine the type of wine. This is Chardonnay, so it will make Chardonnay. Merlot grapes, they make Merlot wine.
Ooh, I could go
Grape
for some
names are
Merlot.
mostly French. Gross. But for example, in English, Pinot Noir means black pine, because it kinda looks like a black pine cone if you squint.
I mean,
Here's some of the
guess.
other names. You can pause it. I'm busy.
I feel like those
Wine
grapes
are
look so
not
good,
like
I
the
want to
kind
eat
you
them.
get at the supermarket.
I don't think you
Those
want to
are
eat
table
those.
grapes. You can think of it kind of like the difference between cooking chocolate and regular chocolate. You can eat them. Ugh. But they're overly
want to.
sugary and kind of full of seeds.
Yeah, they're
and
not.
just
They're
not
not
as
as
nice to snack
prime
on.
for
So the grape
sweetness,
type
really.
is the main word on the bottle. But sometimes there are other words as well. For example, this Bourgogne.
Other words.
What the hell is a Chablis? It's all regions. Allow me to explain. Through the medium of song.
What?
There's
here we go.
Chianti and Piedmont. Also, there's Burgundy. Don't forget Chablis Bordeaux. This one's from Italy. This one's from Italy. This one's from France. This one's from France. This one's from France. This one's from France. This.
Yeah.
They're all from France. We're Italy. Look, the general rule is, if you see a term you don't understand, it's probably just the French or the Italians being all la-dee-da about their particular region. All right, let's move on to price. Come on,
Oh yeah,
I know
they,
what
some of
price
them
about
have
it.
definitely defended the region.
We're here.
Oh,
I think
well,
Tell
yeah.
by the name
champagne.
on the side.
Now,
Now, don't
When the
embarrass
name on
me,
the
I
side.
didn't bring my ID. Fiddle-TD, look at all these bottles.
You didn't bring
So
his ID?
many options. Ooh, a cheeky $200 bottle.
Oh, fuck
And
that.
here, oh, a $20 bottle. Now, I bet this $200 bottle tastes way better, right?
dare
Like it's
you?
gonna be 10 times better than this one. That's just basic math. Go on,
Is it?
though. You choose one. Oh, no.
It just takes both.
Well, it was supposed to be a trick question, but they both taste pretty similar, right? There's not some threshold that you get to where it gets more expensive, and then it tastes better, and then more expensive again, and it tastes even better, until it
chat of
gets
wine.
so
Oh my
expensive and so
God!
incredible that it's like nothing you've ever had before. Break through the conditioning. This is just old
conditioning.
grape juice. Now, if you're a little
juice.
bi-curious about a more expensive bottle,
Bi-curious.
sure, why not?
Gold letters grace the label, hand engraved by goldsmiths. Famed wine critic described
Smiths.
the taste as mind-boggling.
But realistically,
Boggle.
after about $60, the flavor doesn't get much better. In fact, it plateaus out and it can even go down. The best quality to price ratio is all the way over here, much lower, about $20.
Yep.
That's how much you should spend on a bottle of wine.
20 to 60
Now,
bucks at
Some
most.
people will say,
that I'm putting my heart and soul into this thing. I'm making an art, a form of art. How much is that worth? How much is art worth?
about $20. But what about the Vintage?
The
Oh,
Vintage.
look at this.
Uh,
A couple of cromulent
I'd say like
slender
my
necks.
cap is like
And
100.
they're the same
And it's if like I'm having a
price as well.
party and making
But this
cocktails
Well,
one
or
is
yeah.
something
from
or something.
2019,
Well,
and this
usually
one
wouldn't
is
do that
from
with wine.
2022. Well, surely the older one is the better one, right? No. Many people think that wine aging goes like this, and the flavor just keeps getting better over time. Wrong, wrong, wrong. The wine at the store has already been aged at the winery. I don't need to be more aged by sitting on this shelf and just collecting dust, or spending years at the back of your pantry at home. If I'm for sale, I'm ready to be consumed. I'm ready to have your hot lips wrapped around me. In fact, the general rule goes a corked bottle should be drunk within 5 years, and a capped bottle within 1 year. Come, there's more. Let's pretend I am a waiter at a restaurant. You
Okay.
happen to be wearing a shirt, and so I have mistaken you as a paying customer. As a waiter, the first thing I will press you about will be
Just
food
because I had a
pairings.
shirt.
White wine with fish? A Merlot with pork? Well, kid, I'm gonna have to pair this truth nugget with something you don't want to hear.
Facts and logic.
Yes.
No.
Doesn't really matter.
No.
It's all completely subjective.
Of course.
It's cuisine by horoscope. It's food astrology. Pay no attention to the sommeliers in the comments section. They are
Calling you
bullshitting
out.
to upsell.
Get the more expensive one. It goes
Hey.
better with the spaghetti.
Or they are a Pisces and you shouldn't trust their opinion anyway. Something else to expect at a restaurant? Expect to get ripped off by the markup. Most restaurants add a 250 to 300% markup on their wine.
Oh my
and
God.
the cheaper the bottle, the higher the proportional markup tends to be. So a $20 bottle will turn into an $80 bottle, but a $100
That's
bottle
so
may only
expensive.
rise to $150. Most people get the
weird.
second cheapest bottle on the menu, regardless of the pairing, and that'll do just fine. And that's it.
Okay.
No more tips.
That makes sense, actually.
Unless you want to leave me one. Huh? Actually, you know what? I got a fucking tip for you, mate. Ad
What?
time.
Oh.
I bet you're wondering how I got this cog in my knee.
Incogni. God damn it.
It's because I became the
Yeah,
face
that's a real
of the
issue,
cog.
like for like
The service that
restaurants
helps them
and
be
stuff. Like the
forgotten on the
markup
internet.
because of the
I used to
racket
be
they
a
have to
humble
run is just so
florist.
brutal.
One day we received a shipment of forget-me-nots.
Forgive me.
But inexplicably I fell in and ate a bunch of them. I forgot everything
Whoa.
that day. My address, my web browsing habits, where I worked, what my child's face looked like. I was supposed to pick him up from daycare, so that was kind of embarrassing. I just picked one of the kids that kind of looks like me.
Oui, monsieur.
Close enough. Have you ever signed up for some dodgy website? Have you ever dodged up for a legitimate website and they sell all your details onto a dodgy website? That's where I come in. Incogni man and a nana boy. There are data miners out there, data collectors, creating big servers all around the world.
RuneScape
They take your
password.
name, your address, and your IP, and together they make a big profile, and that lives forever. I am
It's
here
Mr.
to send
Beast.
them annoying legal notices to tell them to f*** off. Take Steve off your database. European law this, American law that. Go to incogni.com/internet store to get 60% off an annual plan. The cog signal. I swoop into the data centers. Legal notice. Tangle up their processes with admin. Who are you? I don't know.
Because the
Oh, wait a
forgive me
minute.
nuts.
Inganakni Nam. Go to incogni.com/internet historian. Ah, Incogni man. Remember
Nana
me?
boy.
Yes. No. Who's the kid?
Je suis très affamé, monsieur, s'il vous plaît.
Oh, that's a good deal. Ad over. Welcome to the Wine Underground. We have our meetings here because it stays at a very pleasant temperature. You know, us wine masons, we control everything.
Masons.
We are few, but many. That doesn't make sense. Look at the back of this bottle. See the No Fat Chicks logo?
No fetch.
We put that
What?
there. It is the symbol of our organization. We have a dirty finger in every glass of government and corporation stuff.
Rude,
you
historian
cross us-
rude.
Oops.
Rude.
Perhaps you'll have a little
funny.
accident. Last year, little upstart tried to make wine actually taste good. You know, like how grape soda does. Cut him up so good he had to get stitches. We caught one reporter trying to dig around into our operation. We all know how that one ended. With an airstrike. All right, my little juice box. I'm going to let you in on a secret.
Little
Why
juice
is
box.
champagne called champagne? Well, I'll tell you. It all began in 1668. In the
my.
Abbey of St. Peter in northeast France, there's something spooky going on. It's springtime.
Very spooky.
And in the cellar where they keep all the wine, bottles would suddenly, unexpectedly, explode. Now this was especially common during morning mass. Ho ho, that's
Look
a
at the
bad omen.
bubbles.
Sometimes the explosions would cause little chain reactions, and bottle after bottle would break down the line, ruining the majority
That'd be
of
fun to
the
watch, but
The peasants
terrible
were
for them,
frightened and
obviously.
also parched.
Sacre Bleu, lay wine. What is happening?
The monks would
Sacre
refer to
bleu
this
le
as
wine.
the devil's wine.
Give me that champagne.
Legard, he must be anger at us. We need a hero.
In walks
must be
Dom
angry.
Perignon. He is just the man for the job. A Benedictine monk at the abbey, he's got a new role, the cellar master. And it's his mission to find out what the hell is going on here. So Dom starts looking at all the bottles. And what he figures out pretty quickly is that the wine itself is releasing gas. The gas builds up pressure and... why that is happening, he doesn't know. But it's his job to stop it. So he gets to work, trying all sorts of things to stop his mortal enemy. The bubbles. In the first year, he tried insisting that only the youngest grapes
No,
be
you
picked.
must embrace the bubbles.
This will stop your bubbles.
Well, he doesn't want them to explode is the goal right now.
The next year, he changed
Yeah.
up how the grapes were pressed.
Push harder. We'll squeeze out the bubbles.
Son of a
Squeeze
bitch.
them out.
He
Yeah,
tried
that'll
picking
do.
the grapes very early in the morning, and
I love
no
how he
other
starts where I
time.
would start.
Nope. And on and on. The bubbles would
As
win
you
the
do.
battle every year. For 8 long years, he tried all sorts of different things. And no strategy worked. Oh, no, the bubbles. Eventually, he was at the point
The
of
bubbles.
almost giving up. Until one day, hey, what if the wine is still fermenting? So he takes a couple of the bottles and he opens them and, it is. We ferment the wine. Once it's done, it goes into the bottle. How does it then start fermenting again? How is that possible? And here the mystery was solved. So it turns out, in North France, they have very fast changing seasons. And owing to that, the yeast doesn't actually get time to do its job. Instead, it would get cold very quickly in the winter, and all the yeast would
yeah.
go dormant. Then the winemakers would go, oh, brilliant, fermentation slowed down, it must be done. They would then bottle it, and they would store it. But once summer came back around, the process would spring back to life, and carbon dioxide would build up, and...
Interesting.
Okay,
So we
he
found
thinks,
about
I cannot change the
sparkling
climate.
and like bubbles and champagne through like pure
Accident through
Yeah.
wine being made in this very particular region and due to the way the seasons
Yeah.
function. I mean, that's crazy. So that means, you know,
Yeah, it is.
with champagne made today, that they are just essentially simulating the weather pattern of this particular region to do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of bonkers to me. It's kind of crazy.
Perhaps I shall not win the war against the bubbles. Now, the
The
bubbles are
bubbles.
his enemy, and he
Never
has
fight the
another
bubbles.
enemy. The English. Therefore, the enemy of his enemy or something. Anyway,
What?
he starts talking to the English, and he goes, hey, how do
damn
you
it.
guys stop your bottles from exploding? And the British go,
You what, mate? Cool. We'll peep at how thin the bloody glass be in it. Thin glass is the problem. Thank you for using this test as speech preview. For a paid version,
He
please go
added
to-
this
the
in.
English have created new
The actual
coal-fired
Gotta make
bottles
that glass
with
thick.
much thicker
Yeah,
glass.
thick.
Then they put a cork in the top,
Glass.
and it
Thick
allows them
glass.
to make very foamy beer. That's right. He
Ooh,
could just
very
use
foamy.
thicker bottles, and he won't have to worry about stopping the bubbles at all. So Dom goes running back to France. He's panting, he's sweating, and there's bits of brie on his shirt. He's going, better bottles, better bottles. Everyone's confused and terrified, but they give it a shot. And there it was. The people of France loved it.
I love this new style.
Even the French royals were enjoying new wine TM. He even started adding extra yeast and sugar to really get the
Wine
bubbles
TM.
going. And so Dom Perignon had created what we
Wow.
call today champagne. Now, there's a 19th century marketing campaign that says the moment he uncorked his champagne for the first time, he tried it and said, come quickly, I am tasting the stars.
Listen, the stars.
But that's actually a myth. He never really said that. There's still a problem. And this one, Dom cannot fix.
Oh, look at
The
his
pop.
grumpy face.
If you bottle wine while it's still fermenting,
Oh,
so that you
yeah,
can keep the
true.
bubbles in, you're also trapping in a bunch of dead yeast and debris
Gross.
and gross particles too. Also, it's all cloudy. No, we want it clear. We want it crystal looking. How will we ever solve this problem? Dom dies.
Oh, shit.
1805,
Well then.
in walks Madame Clicquot. She's just the man for the...
Oh, Clicquot.
I'm also French. I have come to remove all the little bits. I will clench my teeth together and go pitu back into the bottle.
Now, Madame Clicquot was a very shrewd lady. Her husband died when she was in her early 20s.
My husband is dead. Lol.
And part of the estate she was bequeathed included a winery.
Why wouldn't you just use
She
a
immediately
sieve?
got to work, making it into a successful business.
I shall invent a process called lay riddling.
Here's what you do, right? You put these bottles on a rack at a 35-degree angle with the top facing down. Every 2 days, she would give the bottle a little shake and slightly increase the angle. After 8 to 10 weeks, all of the sediment would come to rest in the neck of the bottle. All right, quick tangent. Did you know that when you increase the salt concentration in water, you can drop its temperature down much lower without it freezing? Tangent over. So she takes this sub-zero salt water and dips the neck of the bottle in there, then lets it sit until the neck freezes. Now you have a sort of frozen cork filled with all of the gross pulp, and then you simply pop off the top. And the whole thing goes shooting out as a fun prank for your friends and family. Then they add in a little more extra base wine and sugar and leave it to age. And with that, Clicquot has just created a clear, sparkling wine.
That's so
and
fucking
that
smart.
Is Ridley. And Madame Clicquot is...
To come up with that in 1805?
Yeah.
So Dom Perignon and Madame Clicquot are both credited as the godfather and godmother of champagne. Today, the Dom and Clique brands are owned by LVMH, the same parent company that owns Louis Vuitton, Tag Heuer, Tiffany & Co, Hennessy.
What?
Actually, pretty much every luxury brand.
Oh my god.
They're just all a big thing to try to keep pumping this luxury for you.
They're not luxury if they're all owned by one. In my mind, if it's all owned by one giant corporation, all of this stuff is just packaged and told to you to be good. In my like, come on, like what? Look at all those brands, all owned by them. Bastards.
So it's those two brands mostly together end up owning them. I guess it's just like
LVMH owns
the money,
all of this
funding end up there.
That's crazy.
Ends up making sense because like brands often end up wanting to buy other brands or like they need funding.
Because it cuts competition though. Like that's not good.
Yeah.
This is a monopoly.
But also like manufacturing power and everything. But I do agree at the end of the day now you have to go through them to get your own brand.
Fashion and leather goods, wines and spirits, other activities, private equity, perfumes and cosmetics. Like they
that's the weirder stuff because like it's okay like they have like Fendi and Hermes and so like the wine and like the fashion makes sense, but then they're also down here in like Cinemax.
Selective retailing, whatever that means. Like what is Sephora?
Like
Sephora.
Sephora's makeup.
Okay, why wouldn't that be over here in perfumes and cosmetics?
I guess it's because
maybe it's just too selective.
Those are like individual brands, like Fendi, Guerlain, Benefit. Those are like the individual makeup brands. Sephora sells all of them or most of them, depending on the year. Okay. So that's like the retailer. Sephora's still pretty big, but it was really big when I was a teen.
It's the only one in that box I even recognize.
Yeah.
All right, moving in. Wait, what?
I might recognize one or two of them. I was gonna say too, they also started just like the European love of just sparkling stuff.
Oh, well,
because I've heard that like they love sparkling water, like when they have a dinner.
Well, because I mean, think about it. They never had that, and even when they first got it, it wasn't clean. And then all of a sudden, they made this bubbly, crystal clear alcoholic drink. They're like, we can do magic.
Why is it called champagne? Well, that's because it comes from the Champagne region, you dummy.
Yeah.
And anything else with bubbles is just sparkling wine.
Yep. They can't call it actual champagne. They have to call it
I
sparkling
think for a
wine.
long time people were getting away with it, but I remember like how many
well,
years
they can
back
call
ago
it
they
sparkling
finally
wine
I was just
champagne.
looking out
they
over the
reinforced
sunset.
it now.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
how it is.
a lot of things had to
Thinking
take it
about
off the bottle.
stuff
I remember
that
this.
happened in the past. I remember it all too well. It was literally 1984.
Literally.
I was walking home with my parents from the opera.
Wait, are you Batman?
We're nearly there.
Hey, let's take a little shortcut, they said.
Yeah.
We can cut through here.
We were walking down a well
Oh, no, don't-
alleyway. It
don't
was
cut
nothing
through
but
that.
quaint restaurants.
Baby
and
internet
Do
restaurants.
it.
Then suddenly, a man holding a bottle of Shiraz came out of nowhere. Just a tip, he said. I was terrified. I knew nothing about wine. Go on, he said. My hands were shaking, knees weak, arms heavy. Complex aroma, wouldn't you say? Very good tannins. Oh, really?
Tannin.
What's a tannin? I don't know. My parents died from embarrassment right there. on
Died
the
from
spot.
embarrassment.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Oh my god.
Just a tipple.
I don't know.
It's too late for me, but I don't want the same thing to happen to you. That's why we have to learn about how to serve wine.
Yeah, you gotta get the
Yeah, perfect
what is it?
segue, man.
to show your friends and family how successful and sophisticated you are.
It has to be
Did you
chilled
know
and,
that
like,
Da Vinci
Well, of course.
painted the Mona Lisa.
Aerated.
So let's
Well,
go through
you
how
have to serve different
the
ones
big
at the
three.
right one.
White, red, and champagne.
Red is
Let's
the
say
one that
you
has to
bought
be
champagne.
usually put in a decanter, okay?
Okay.
That bottle
Okay.
goes in the
Bringing the wine
champagne
snubbery.
is served cold always. To
Always.
open,
Well, yeah,
peel off
champagne
the
has to
foil
be served
and
cold.
do not aim it at your face.
Oh,
Then
no, don't
twist
do
off
that.
Well,
the metal thing. If you want
yeah.
to
People
do anything
do,
you're fancy,
people do.
use the proper word.
Oh, God.
Muselet.
Oh, yes, the
It helps
the
to contain
muselet.
pressure. Again, don't aim this thing at your face. It's really worth repeating. The PSI inside a champagne bottle is 70 to 90.
Oh my
That puts it in the
God.
same league.
I
as a
use an
nail gun.
opener so I
That's
don't
a
it
nail
doesn't
gun.
shoot it all
Cork
out.
comes
'Cause
out
I don't
about
like
50
wasting it,
miles an
but I'm
hour.
also
And if you're in a house,
super
you
afraid
want
of
to hold
that.
onto it very firmly with your hand. If you're Bezos, or you just won the Grand Prix, fling it over some ladies. But if you want to be really fancy, you can use a sword.
Oh, yes, the sword
This has
method.
been a tradition for a couple hundred years,
I've
popularized
seen that. It
by
always
Napoleon.
looks super
After
I've
cool,
seen it
but
in
I
person.
the
It was
army
dope.
would use their sabers to crack one open for the boys. But the sword's just ceremonial. You can use pretty much any blunt object to knock off the top.
Yeah, phone.
Phone,
Bam.
a shoe, this fish head.
okay, shoes
If
classy.
it's cold, it shouldn't fizz over too much, but you might want to have someone on the side with a ready glass. The glass type
Yeah.
should either be a
I
tulip
don't like wasting
or a
like half a
flute.
bottle.
Although,
tulip
if
or
you've seen The
flute?
Great Gatsby, you may notice that they use these. Up until the mid-1900s, people used coupes. That's because
Coupes,
back in the day, excessive
best.
effervescence wasn't very cool. So these cups helped actually dispel the bubbles faster. In fact,
You see, you don't want
sometimes they'd
those.
even use a small whisk or a
No,
fork
they're premium
to
cute.
dissipate all the bubbles.
Why would you
Now, there's
dissipate
actually an old
bubbles?
myth that the shape and size of the coupe was molded from one of
That's how you
Marie
make the
Antoinette's
champagne.
bimbos.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
But it's probably not true.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, he's okay with it.
Eventually, bubbles became a fancy feature, so the flute was adopted.
Apparently.
They can be made from glass,
Oh, yeah,
but
look at
preferably
this.
they're made from crystal, so that they shimmer as much as possible. And the best
Shimmer.
flutes would also feature a small rough spot right there at the center of the glass.
Oh,
at the
is that what
bottom
that's
to
for?
create a sort of tornado of bubbles. Anyway,
Ooh,
as you
tornado
pour,
bubbles.
tilt sideways so it
Yeah.
doesn't all head, and don't pour more than 2/3
Yeah, you
full.
never want to pull a full.
Done. White
Unless you
wine.
really want alcohol.
White wine is best served
get
chilled
drunk.
too. 10 to 15 degrees though, not fridge cold. Use a small glass bowl and pour to about half full. And when you drink, do a little sniff test and, aerate it a bit. Then hold it down low on the stem so your hands don't heat up the liquid. If it's not to your taste, cut it with 50% Sprite and add a few ice cubes. Done. Reds.
Most people are like, don't do
Red
that.
wine is not chilled. It is served at room
sure.
temperature. When you first open
Yep,
it,
you
you're
don't
supposed to
usually
let
chill
it sit
red
for a
wine.
while to oxidize. That gives it more flavor. Although, if you don't want to wait, you can just pour it into a decanter. That does the same thing. To drink from, we want a big bowl on a stick, so you get a full face of the aromas of the grape blood.
Oh yeah.
When you pour the thing, fill it about 1/3 full. That's pretty much it. However, when it comes to wine snobbery, red wine snobbery is at the top of the Maslow hierarchy.
Crushed white rock. It's like almost like a rock quarry.
Oh my god, shut up. And there's a taste testing thing that people do, and it'll go a bit mental, and it's kind of gross.
Yeah, I don't
and it
like the
looks
taste
dumb.
test. I don't like this.
If you think you're ready for the ultimate
habits.
test, ready to take the one-chip challenge of enology, then here's how you do it.
challenge.
When the waiter comes over, insist on taking a teensy sample. Inspect for color, clarity, and legs. Legs refers to how
Legs, yeah.
viscous the wine is. Smell it. Smells like a red wine. Swirl it around on the table, making a loud scratching noise so that everyone knows you're a connoisseur.
Swirling the wine glass is almost like turning up the volume on the stereo.
When you taste it, you're supposed to get it over every part of your mouth, so that when you brush your teeth later, it's awful. Then take in big sips of air. This is where you comment on the texture and taste. Complex notes! You yell across the room. Now this is the best part. You can just make shit up about vanilla smatterings or citrusy undercurrents. I swear, there's a hint of blueberry. It's one of those things that's kinda true, but subjective enough that no one can really refute you. So make a big show of it.
There is a little bit of an earthiness, almost a graphite clay.
Graphite?
It's a little bit meaty. It's a little bit sort of
Meaty?
rustic.
There are definitely hints here of Monster Ultra sugar-free. If this is a taste test and your sampling doesn't
Monster Ultra.
you want to spit out the sample into this gross bucket.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you don't
this is
get
the part
too
I
drunk.
hate.
Do not ask the waiter if you can drink from the bucket. It's the waiter's privilege, and he's very protective of it. And that is how to serve wine. Okay, that's a lot of shitting on wine, people.
And we shouldn't get bullied.
But let me do a quick 180.
We shouldn't get
overall,
bullied.
Wine is good. And a little wine snobbery can
Yeah,
be
it is
good,
good.
also.
I actually like
Being
wine compared to other
into
alcohol.
wine is one of the great dad hobbies. One day you will have a model train set in your basement, complete with a little walking path and the grass just right. The best part about this hobby is building the thing, getting it just perfect, and then making people sit there while you explain the little trains in excruciating detail of how they work. Now, fun of Warhammer. That's when you save up for the little
that your
Space Marine
dream?
man.
Warhammer.
You take him out of the packet. You put on a podcast with
Yeah.
some Warhammer in the background.
Of all the Primarchs, Horus is the best kisser.
And you slowly paint it yourself. And then you argue with your mates later about why the Necrophiles are the best race. There are people that spend like tens of thousands of dollars on coffee machines and equipment. And then it takes like an hour to make a coffee. And it's like only 5% better.
What will those
than
do?
the
Because
ones you
just
get
look
at
how
coffee.
awesome it looks.
Now, I could be Mr.
But
Killjoy
yeah,
and
it
come in
takes
and go, what's the
forever.
point of that? Why not just buy it from the cafe?
The
Why
siphons
not just
look
get a pre-painted
cool.
Space Marine? Why not have someone else just install the train set? But then there's no ceremony, there's no fun, there's no hobby. Wine
He's
is
right.
very simple.
True.
They're getting a little bit too obsessive about the thing. And being like,
Some lemon zest as well, lemon pith.
Well, I feel like you can
super
put a
tangy.
ceremony and
Is the
appreciate
purpose
it
of
without getting
it's the fun of
so.
wine.
Well, people
Which is
get really
why
into it,
wine
and that's what
is
creates
better than
innovation,
just
though,
some
is what he's
old
getting at, and like creating the fun.
And you fucking wine loser snobs.
I'm just talking about the actual
You know what?
snobbery
You're old.
that people do.
Well, but people do that all the time with like their own audience stuff, right? Like, you know, in anything that they think is like their thing, they can be kind of gatekeepy. I
True.
think that's gatekeepy. And I think that's true with anyone who's super passionate. Like, well, you don't really understand. You don't understand the amazing flavors of these complex wines, bro.
It's like, I'm like, if you're tasting graphite, I don't want that. You
I
can
know,
keep it.
graphite. I mean, I just think they have those ones. I think they don't know what they're describing at that point. Like, I think they're searching for words, and it just comes out like dribble. Like, oh yes, this grape is very meaty. Yes. What do you mean it's meaty? What did the fuck? Do you mean, does it make you want meat? Is that what you mean? Like, do you mean it's very thick? Like it has a big body? Like I could maybe understand that. Like it's a thicker red wine, not as like a light red wine. Like what the?
Or if they have something in the flavor. Like I sometimes try to taste like the things they say they add to it, but like all those, I'm just like, what are you?
Graphite and meat. Graphite and meat. That's what we need. I think there.
And that's about it. There's just one last thing left. The practical. Come on, my little nouveau biche. I booked out a whole restaurant. They serve some of the best blue whale caviar here.
What?
All right, you did it. You sat through the whole video without crying. I think this calls for a toast. Steady now.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh! I knew it was going to go wrong. It was a trap.
I can't believe that.
Not again.
But it's okay. I feel like we're becoming close friends who can keep secrets and stuff.
Involved in this.
And because we're such close friends,
I mean, yes, we are. We're definitely those.
Right. You're gonna be just
friends.
like me. I just cannot tell which of this is blood and what's
Why is
wine.
it blood
By the way,
again?
this is the second video. If you haven't seen the first one, which is on Fancy at the Theatre, go look at it over here.
To learn to be truly great and classy, sometimes you
the next incognito
take out
on
a
its
fellow
way.
servant. I don't
Do
know.
not forget story mode. Do not forget incogni. And do not forget to dream.
and leave it there with him wiping up more blood at the end of another fucking one of these fancy videos. Why is it always ending in blood? Oh, that's so good. Again, masterclass in the editing, the scripting. I mean, just amazing videos, Internet Historian. Amazing. And very informative, actually. I learned quite a lot there. The whole riddling process with champagne, fantastic. I did not realize how that quite worked. How do you come up with that shit, you know, back in 1805? Like, how long do you think it was like her just trying to figure out how the fuck do I get this crap out of my wine?
Well, first she's like, we'll just like suck it out. I'm like, oh.
Well, I think that was his joke, but that sounds so patoop back into the bottle.
Although sometimes they actually were pretty practically smart. Like they could figure out.
Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking of like how much trial and error there had to be because you didn't have like resources like to gather information.
Like, the exact angle they need to do or why it works. Like,
flip open Google and be like, how do I make sure the water doesn't freeze when I want it really cold? You know, like they might have known that already, but I'm just saying like accumulating all that knowledge for a process that allowed them to make crystal clear champagne is pretty impressive.
And if there's any more information on that, we can always figure it out in the future. Because that is impressive that they figured out the angle and everything. It had to take a while.
Things. The snobbery thing, I don't know. Like, I think there's coffee snobs.
Yeah,
I am a coffee snob to a point, but like I don't shame people. Go drink your Folgers if you want. If you want to torture yourself. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, create the ritual that's important to you, as long as it's reasonable and don't get crazy.
I want a sponsorship from Bones Coffee.
Bones Coffee.
Go get Bones Coffee. It's good.
Yeah, Bones Coffee's pretty good.
I'm trying.
We gotta get the view.
No, but yeah, I just think it's interesting how like they even market it, and it's just really just different grapes and regions all competing against each other.
Yeah.
France and Italy, that song. I think he could have included maybe some California ones.
Yeah. That's a good reminder. I was gonna say, there definitely are other regions now trying.
Well,
are they
yeah,
the
of
big
course.
names?
Yeah. I mean,
that we know
they've
them
made
by anymore.
wine
No,
forever,
but
like all over the world. But it's
yeah,
just,
up and down the West Coast, they make wine.
I would say
now and
modernly,
stuff.
especially like modern history, even Italy and France definitely dominated the wine market, like internationally.
True.
By and large. But yeah, great video. And we'll see another one soon, hopefully, in this fancy line. Other than that, we're planning on some other reactions on the channel. Maybe some JonTron, maybe a few other things related to game stuff going on in the industry right now. Just a variety of things. And if you guys want us to watch something, please leave suggestions in the comments below. We'll read them all. And if we see anything that sounds interesting that we want to react to, we definitely will. And unless Una has anything she wants to add.
That's good for now.
We'll be
keep it sparkling. We learned sparkling is superior.
Oh my god. Yes, sparkling. Yes, sparkling. Well, maybe the next video will have lots of sparkling in it. On the next Moans and Bones.
Yeah.
When you sparkle.